President Assad issues a law strengthening the penalties on forcing children to take part in fighting operations. And units of the Syrian army besiege terrorists in a number of quarters in Aleppo and advance in Al-Khalidiyya quarter in Homs. Lavrov says the US should define its attitude clearly about holding an international conference dealing with the crisis in Syria. And Al-Zoubi says that Syrian political leadership is still committed to the political solution whose essence is national dialogue. Good afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian television in Damascus. President Bashar al-Assad issued law number 11 for the year 2013 that includes adding a new article to the penal code on the involvement of children in combat operations. The new article stipulates for sentencing imprisonment with hard labor for a period that ranges between 10 and 20 years, in addition to a fine between £1 million and £3 million Syrian pounds for each person who recruits a child under the age of 18 years old, with the aim of engaging him or her in combat operations or other related acts. The penalty to be intensified into life imprisonment with hard labor if the act resulted in causing permanent disability to the child or a sexual assault on him or her, or giving his narcotic drugs during the process, or any substance that affect the mind. The penalty would be a death sentence if the crime resulted into the death of the child. Minister of Information Roland Dumas asserted that the political leadership in Syria is still committed to the political solution which it called for since the beginning of the crisis in the country. The leadership believes, according to Al-Zoubi, that the national dialogue is the essence of this political solution. This dialogue has no place for any non-Syrians. On the occasion of the 50th anniversary of a Thawra newspaper, the minister said that the Muslim Brotherhood as a political organization has shown no ability to give a model to the administration of any state authority within 1 year. They disrupted the reputation of Egypt and gave the worst model of administration in the first examination. It has become very clear that the model of Turkey is useless to lead a state full of multilateral political, social and cultural aspects. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov asserted that the US should define its attitude to the initiative of the international conference about the crisis in Syria. Shortly before meeting his American counterpart John Kerry in Brunei, he stressed the importance of a clear American attitude to this initiative. The two foreign ministers agreed last May on holding this conference according to agreed understandings reached in Geneva. Communique. The European Front of Solidarity with Syria and the Czech capital Prague asserted standing by the Syrian government and people.
The front endeavors to acquaint the European communities with the reality of the situation in Syria. The lecture was joined by many Western academic experts, including Professor Daniel Solis, the specialist in political sciences. The front asserted that the Syrian government was the legitimate authority protecting sovereignty and stability. Syria's enemies aim at igniting a civil war as part of the international conflict on this region. The lecture proved that the Western mass media continue to tell lies and false reports about events in Syria. The lecturers asserted that President Bashar al-Assad has the support of 70% of the Syrian people.
In our field developments, the terrorist Ahmed al-Sukhni, also known as the Bin Laden of Syria, leader of the Jabhat al-Nusra, was killed in Deir ez-Zor when units of the Syrian army attacked terrorist groups in the city and scored direct hits among them. A military source said that the Syrian army destroyed terrorist groups in the town of Mohassan in the countryside of the governorate, killing large numbers of terrorists from the so-called Jabhat al-Nusra. Units of the Syrian army destroyed terrorist groups and their hideouts in several towns and villages in Idlib countryside. They also defused explosive devices planted in Al-Masluma highway to be detonated by remote control. A military source said that many terrorists were killed in the town of Binnish and other areas. Their weapons and equipment were also destroyed. The army foiled terrorist attempts to detonate 3 explosive devices, each weighing 20 kilograms. In a series of operations to the east of Al-Nabak, Rankus, Qara and Adra in Damascus countryside, units of the Syrian Arab Army inflicted heavy casualties among terrorists and destroyed a rocket base and heavy machine guns they were using. On the other hand, several citizens were wounded when an explosive device was detonated by terrorists under a private vehicle in Al-Kiswe. An official source clarified that the explosive devices exploded after attaching it to a car parked in Al-Kiswe roundabout. The explosion led to the injury of 10 citizens and material damages in the place. That was it. More details on our website www.syriaonline.sy. The latest in the world of finance in our economic news, but after the break.
Good afternoon. In its final session of the fourth course, the People's Assembly, chaired by the Speaker Mohammed Jihad Al-Laham, approved the draft law to amend Article number 1 of the law concerning the profession of financial exchange. The Minister of Justice said that the amendment aimed at strengthening the punishment of the crime of transferring money from Syria to the outside or practicing money exchange without license. The punishment also includes strong and large financial fines equal to 3 times the sums confiscated in this field. The Assembly listened to the replies of the Minister of Agriculture to written questions asked by members of the Assembly. The replies included compensations for farmers concerning the cotton crops of 2012 due to the lack of irrigation. Deputy Prime Minister for Economic Affairs, Minister of Local Administration Omar Ghalawanji issued a resolution to amend the 6th article of the investment system in the industrial city of Adra, allowing investors to give facilitations for rent partly or completely according to the conditions set forth to this process, after taking a pledge by the tenants to abide by the regulations of the industrial city. The amendment also included the approval of the public and private mortgage banks in case there was a mortgage notice on the booth which would be rented. The Higher Council of Traditional Crafts discussed the ways of preserving the traditional professions in Syria and reviving them. The Council also discussed in its first meeting, headed by the Minister of Tourism, the suggestions and the insights that the members made to put new strategies and programs that are related to these traditional industries. The Minister of Tourism pointed out that the aim of forming this council is putting a database for the traditional crafts, since the Minister of Tourism has markets for manual crafts in Damascus, Hama and Aleppo cities, asserting the importance of supporting these occupations and training new generations to master them. Minister of Industry Adnan Al-Sukhni warned against trading with the products of the public industrial sector, pointing out the importance of developing strategies that achieve the utmost gains. The strategies take into consideration financing raw materials that are necessary for some industries. With the Ministry's supervision for this process, the Minister asserted the necessity of preserving the halted companies and solving the problems of the operating ones, in addition to reducing expenditure and increasing production. The Minister of Public Works asserted that the Ministry seeks to exchange prices for the construction sector, which plays a positive role in the private and public sectors. During a meeting with the members of the construction syndicate, the minister also indicated to the importance of adopting a modern law for contracts. On the other hand, they discussed the situation of the projects that were affected by the current circumstances and the possibility of implementing short-term projects, in addition to exchanging the money which is owned by the contractors of the General Company of Construction. European stocks advanced after posting their first weekly gain since May, as investors awaited a report on the euro area factory output. Japanese shares also advanced, with the Topix index capping the biggest three-day rally in almost 3 months. The Jewelers Assembly set the price of the 21-carat gold at 7,300 Syrian pounds per gram, by 200 Syrian pounds since yesterday, while the Rashadi golden coin was set at 53,000 Syrian pounds and the English coin was set at 59,400 Syrian pounds. And now over to the exchange rates according to the bulletin of the Central Bank of Syria. With this, we conclude our news. Thank you for watching and goodbye.